What's the worst thing your mom's ever said to you? Mine told me, we need to make space for the real kids. I'm Isaiah, 19, Tulsa, Oklahoma. First-gen college student. Worked at a tech repair shop, pulled a 4.0 GPA, helped raise my step-siblings, and still got kicked out like I was a guest overstaying my welcome. It started slow, like a leaking faucet you ignore until it floods the kitchen. First, my mom remarried. He wasn't awful, not at first. He was just loud. He made our house feel like it wasn't mine anymore. Then one day she said, "Your stepbrother needs more space." I didn't argue. I gave up my bedroom for an 11-year-old I barely knew. I moved into the garage. No insulation, no heating, a single outlet for my phone and school laptop. I told myself it was temporary. But temporary became permanent, and silence became expected. I'd come home from school, fix dinner for 4 kids under 13, help with homework, clean dishes, fold laundry, and then disappear into the garage like some forgotten pet. It was winter when I got sick. Not COVID, just cold nights and no blankets. I still showed up to school, still made honor roll, still didn't complain when mom asked if I could transfer just a little from my savings for groceries. The first time it was $300, then $600, then $900. In 7 months, I transferred $4,200. I told myself this was what family did. We helped. We carried weight. We sacrificed. But somewhere in those quiet nights, laying on a cot under a thin blanket, I realized something. Nobody was sacrificing for me. Then came graduation. My counselor handed me my cords and said, "You made it, Isaiah." I smiled like I believed it. I'd been accepted into 2 local universities. I had my FAFSA done. I'd budgeted everything down to the dollar. My grandmother left me a college fund, $20,000 in a protected account. My mom was the manager of it until I turned 21. I never thought she'd touch it. On graduation morning, while I was tying my tie with shaking hands, Mom knocked on the garage door. She didn't say congratulations. She said, "You need to pack up. We need your space for storage and stuff." Storage and stuff. No ceremony. No party. No family photos. Just a trash bag full of my clothes and a text to my friend asking if his couch was still open. I thought that was the bottom. But the real drop was coming, because a week later, she called me again. Not to apologize. Not to check in. She wanted $5,000 from my college fund for her stepdaughter's dual credit high school program. When I said no, she said, "You're ungrateful. After everything I've done for you." I wanted to scream, but I just hung up. My hands shook the whole walk to the bank. I checked the account balance. $600. I blinked, then looked again. $600. She had taken $19,400. And on the withdrawal slip, my name, my signature. But I didn't sign anything. Not only did she kick me out, she forged my name. And I hadn't even seen the worst part yet. I sat in that cold bank lobby for what felt like hours, holding the printed statement with shaking hands. $19,400. Gone. And there, in messy blue ink, was my name, except it wasn't my handwriting. My stomach dropped. The teller, a woman maybe in her 50s, asked if I needed help. I told her I didn't recognize the signature. She tilted her head and said, "You'll have to speak to the account manager, but if your guardian signed it, and you're not 21, it might not count as fraud." Might not count. My grandma made that fund ironclad. I remembered sitting in her lap at 13 while she said, "This is for your future, baby. Not your mama's nails. Not some man's backyard grill." And now they had both. My friend Jordan let me crash on his couch. His mom was nice, but their place was cramped. 3 people in a 2-bedroom apartment with a leaky AC and a cat that hated me. Still, it was better than the garage. That night, I couldn't sleep. I opened my notes app and just poured everything out. Dates, amounts, screenshots of transfers, copies of texts, even a photo of the envelope where Grandma wrote, "Isaiah's tuition do not touch." I posted it all on Reddit. Anonymous. Title: My mom stole my college fund for her new husband's backyard dreams. I expected maybe a few comments. I woke up to 8,000 upvotes. By lunch, it was trending on r/legal advice, r/raised by narcissists, and a finance subreddit I'd never heard of. People were furious on my behalf. Dozens of users begged me to post proof. So I did: screenshots, redacted bank documents, the forged signature. One DM hit different. A TikToker named at Wallet Woke messaged me. Would you be okay if I covered this on my page? You'll be anonymous. I said yes. By midnight, her video had 1.2 million views. She ended the clip with, "This is why financial literacy matters, and why some moms don't deserve to manage your future." The comments? Brutal. Then came the twist I didn't expect. My Aunt Tanya messaged me on Facebook. Just 3 words. "Can we talk?" I hesitated. She was my mom's older sister. Never liked me much growing up. Always called me too sensitive, but curiosity won. We met at a small diner near 21st Street. She slid into the booth across from me and said, I knew something was off. She pulled out her phone, opened a text thread, and said, "Your mom told the whole family you ran off. Said you got into pills, were stealing from her, cussing her out. She made you sound like some addict trying to burn the place down." My throat closed. But, Aunt Tanya continued, "You weren't raised like that." And something in me said, "Nah, not that boy." So when I saw the TikTok, I knew it was you. She handed me her phone again. Group texts. Family chat. Full of comments like, "Isaiah thinks he's too good for us. Hope college teaches him humility. Let him figure out the real world on his own." I swallowed hard. They were laughing at me, mocking me, painting me as some spoiled, broken kid, while they sat in a backyard hot tub bought with my education. I asked Aunt Tanya, why didn't anyone call me? She paused. We believed her. Until now. It was the until now that mattered. I walked out of that diner with something new in my chest. Rage, maybe, but also purpose. I went back to Jordan's and made a plan. This wasn't just a family issue anymore. This was fraud, and I wasn't going to stay silent. I called a local legal aid clinic. They said if I could prove the forgery and the misuse of funds, I had a real case. But I needed more than receipts. I needed leverage. And that's when I remembered the old leather box under the garage cot. I hadn't grabbed it when I left, but it might hold the one piece of proof I needed. The journal. My grandma's journal. With the original statement she made when she opened that fund. The one that said the money was mine. But when I snuck back the next night to grab it, it was gone. I stood there in the dark, heart thumping, staring at the empty spot under the cot where the leather box used to be. My grandma's journal was gone. The last thing I had that proved the fund was for me. My name, her handwriting, her promise. It vanished like I never existed. Panic set in. I flipped the mattress. Opened the milk crate I used as a nightstand. Nothing. I tiptoed through the garage, careful not to trip over the bikes, tools, or half-open paint cans. Still nothing. A light flicked on upstairs. I ducked behind the dryer. Footsteps. Creaky ones. Not my mom's. Heavier. My stepdad. He wandered into the kitchen and opened the fridge, chugged something straight from a jug, then muttered, "Lazy little punk," and slammed the fridge door shut. I held my breath. He didn't know I was there. But it was clear, I wasn't welcome in that house anymore. Not even as a memory. The next morning, I messaged my aunt again. Told her about the missing journal. She surprised me. "Your grandma scanned a bunch of her papers before she died. Let me check the cloud thing she used." An hour later, she sent a file. There it was, a scan of the exact journal page. Her handwriting. The title, Isaiah's Education Savings. The sentence, "This money is not to be used by anyone else. Not his mother, not anyone. This is for his tuition, his future." I broke down crying in the bathroom at Jordan's place. Now I had proof. But I needed more than justice. I needed a voice. I reached out to at Wallet Woke again, told her everything. She asked if I'd be willing to appear on camera. I hesitated, then said yes. The next day, she posted a follow-up video. This time, with my voice narrating. "My name's Isaiah. My mom kicked me out after graduation to make space for her new family. Then she stole my college fund, $19, for $100, to buy her husband a hot tub. I have proof. I have receipts. And I have a voice now." Within 36 hours, the video had 4.9 million views. People flooded the comments. "This is abuse. Let's start a GoFundMe. Your grandma would be proud." I've been there. Stay strong, bro. But the real shock came from my cousin Malik. He DM'd me a screenshot of our family group chat, the one I'd been removed from months ago. My mom was freaking out. She called the video defamatory, said I was lying for clout. "He's exaggerating," she wrote. "He always plays the victim. He forged the documents." But Malik added, "Bro, I know you didn't. I saw the patio set and hot tub on their credit card before she wiped the history. I got pics." He sent me 2 photos. One of a Lowe's receipt for a $6,800 outdoor set. Another of a spa order confirmation with her name and their shared address. Game on. I uploaded everything, blurred names and addresses, onto a Google Drive folder and shared it with the lawyer from the legal aid clinic. They told me, "Isaiah, this isn't just shady. It's illegal." But my mom didn't stop. She emailed my job at the tech repair shop, accusing me of stealing equipment. Luckily, my manager's chill. He pulled me into the office and said, "You've always been solid. Just thought you should know she tried." I stared at the floor. My voice cracked when I asked, "Why is she doing this?" He said, "Because you're telling the truth. And some folks hate the truth." He offered to extend my hours. Said, "You're gonna need the cash. Whatever war she's starting, you deserve to finish it." I nodded, because I wasn't backing down. Later that night, at Wallet Woke messaged me again. "Isaiah, a news outlet just contacted me. They want to feature your story. National segment. You in?" My hands shook. But I replied, "I'm in." What I didn't know yet was who else was watching. Someone who had their own story to tell. And a secret that would change everything I thought I knew about my mom. The news segment aired on a Thursday night. They kept my face blurred, but my voice clear, honest, trembling only once. I watched it from the floor of Jordan's tiny living room, sitting cross-legged between an unplugged space heater and a bowl of instant ramen. The reporter said, "An anonymous teen alleges that his mother misused nearly $20,000 left in trust for college expenses. He claims the money was spent on non-educational items, including luxury patio furniture and a spa tub. Documents have been provided. The mother has not responded to multiple requests for comment." Within hours, everything exploded. I refreshed my messages and saw hundreds of strangers reaching out. Some offered help. Others told me their stories, similar betrayals, stolen college funds, parents who treated them like wallets. But the most unexpected message came from a contact I didn't recognize. "Hey, we haven't talked in years. I'm your dad's cousin. Your mom said he left you and never paid child support. None of that true. We need to talk." I froze. My dad. He died when I was 8, or so I'd always been told. An accident, my mom said. Vague. Final. But this guy, his cousin, claimed otherwise. He said he had letters, emails, old photos. Said my dad had sent birthday cards for years that my mom returned unopened. Said he'd tried to set up a 529 college plan for me. But every attempt had been blocked. My pulse was pounding. I asked for proof. He sent a photo of a letter dated my 10th birthday. "Happy birthday, Zay. You're probably too old to call you that now. But I miss you. I hope you're doing well. I'm proud of you, no matter what." I couldn't breathe. I'd lived half my life thinking I was abandoned. But maybe I was hidden. The next morning, my aunt called. Not texted. Not emailed. Called. She was crying. "Baby, I'm so sorry. I didn't know how bad it got." I stayed silent. Then she said, "She told us you dropped out. Said you got arrested for shoplifting. Said you cursed her out and ran away." I clenched my teeth. I babysat for her every day. Cooked dinner. Gave her money. She sobbed harder. I believed her. We all did. And when you stopped showing up, we didn't ask questions. That's when she said something I'll never forget. "She didn't just steal your money, Isaiah. She stole your reputation." I got chills. Because it was true. The lies weren't just financial, they were personal. Designed to erase me from every story she told. But I had the power to rewrite that story. With Jordan's help, I pieced together a timeline, text receipts, bank logs, family chat leaks, school transcripts, the scan of grandma's will. I emailed everything to a pro bono legal group that specialized in financial abuse and forgery. They replied within 24 hours. "We're taking your case. And we'll start by sending a cease and desist letter to your mother." By the weekend, my mom had gone dark. No calls. No new posts. Even her Facebook account disappeared. But the silence didn't last long. On Monday, a new TikTok popped up from her stepdaughter. The one she'd taken $5,000 from my fund to enroll in that fancy dual credit program. She sat on a porch swing, chewing gum, acting casual. So everyone's mad at my mom because my lame ex-brother made up lies about her stealing money. Whatever. He was just jealous because Mom loved us more. He never fit in. Always acted like we owed him something. Anyway, stay mad. The video racked up 100,000 views in a day. The comments? Brutal. But that's when I got my revenge. I didn't respond. Didn't clap back. Didn't post a single word. Instead, I shared a screenshot. Not of the TikTok. Not of her. But of the bank statement showing a $5,000 withdrawal 2 days after I graduated. With a caption, "This is what love looks like." It blew up. And in the replies, my old middle school math teacher chimed in. I remember Isaiah. Quiet, respectful, brilliant. We all knew he'd go far, if the world didn't chew him up first. The world tried. But I wasn't chewed up. I was sharpening my teeth. What none of them knew was that I wasn't done yet. There was still one document no one had seen. A form my mom forged, with my fake signature, and a witness line signed by her husband. I found it in the bottom of the file box, behind old homework and a receipt for a turkey fryer. I scanned it, sent it to the legal team. They replied, "We can charge them both." Next stop? The county courthouse. And what I saw on the security footage from that ATM would break everything open. I walked into the courthouse alone, sweaty palms, cracked phone in my pocket, wearing the same hoodie I'd worn since senior year. I didn't have a lawyer, not yet. But I had something better. Truth. And a flash drive. The clerk at the records office didn't ask questions. I'd filed a public request for ATM surveillance footage from the bank where my college fund was drained, $19, for 100 gone in 3 transactions. Each withdrawal happened at the same branch. Same machine. Same camera. I watched the clip on a borrowed laptop in the courthouse lobby. My chest tightened. Because there she was. My mom. In her pink zip-up, the one with the bleach stain on the collar. Holding my card. Entering my PIN. Smiling. Next frame. Her husband, my stepdad, walks up behind her with a drink in hand. He leans over and kisses her cheek. The timestamp. 3:14 p.m., exactly 22 minutes after I'd clocked in for a shift at the tech repair shop. Ironclad alibi. Clear footage. And a forged withdrawal slip, signed Isaiah T. In a style I never used. I downloaded everything. Filed a digital report with the legal team. They said it was more than enough. The next day, they filed a preliminary complaint with the DA for financial abuse, forgery, and unauthorized withdrawal from a minor's trust fund. My heart pounded like a war drum. But the fallout was still coming. It started with a text. Not from my mom. Not from my aunt. But from a reporter at the Tulsa Tribune. "Isaiah, we'd like to feature your story. With your permission, you'd remain anonymous unless you choose otherwise." I hesitated for maybe 5 seconds. Then I typed, "Make it loud." The article went live 2 days later. Teen's college fund allegedly stolen by mother and stepfather for backyard renovations. Photos blurred. Names redacted. But the story? Nuclear. Within 48 hours, someone tagged the house on Google Maps. Someone else posted before and after photos of their newly renovated backyard, complete with the hot tub, fire pit, and decorative stone walkway. The comments spiraled. But it wasn't just trolls or strangers. People my mom knew started calling her out. A woman from her church posted, "You took prayer requests for tuition help while stealing your own son's future? I'm sick." Another from her old job. "Now I know why she quit so fast. Guilt is a heavy coat." That night, I got a voicemail. Her voice. Tight. Fake sweet. Like the smile she'd give neighbors while yelling at me inside. "Isaiah, honey, we should talk. You're hurting people who love you. And you're embarrassing yourself. Please call me back. Let's fix this before it's too late." I stared at the phone, then deleted the message. "Too late. Ma'am, we passed too late when you kicked me out of my own bedroom. When you told me to sleep next to a space heater while your new husband watched cable from a hot tub paid with my future." But what truly shattered me wasn't the voicemail. It was the letter, a physical one, mailed to Jordan's apartment. It came in a basic white envelope with no return address. Inside, a handwritten note from my grandma's old friend, Miss Eileen. She lived 2 blocks over when I was a kid. Used to give me root beer and tell me I looked like a young Colin Powell. Her note read, "Your grandma told me if anything ever happened to her, your mama wouldn't do right. She left copies of everything in a safe at her bank, just in case." I never thought I'd need to send this. But I see what's going on now. "I'm sorry, baby. Here's the key." Enclosed, a single brass safe deposit key, labeled number 1129. I called the bank that night, confirmed the box existed, confirmed it was still active under my grandma's name only. I made an appointment for Friday. When I opened it, my whole body locked up. Inside, the original trust agreement, signed and notarized. Letters my grandma wrote to me for every birthday through age 21. And a USB with photos, scanned receipts, and one file titled, "If They Ever Steal From You." It was a video. My grandma, frail but fierce, sitting in her kitchen. "Baby, if you're watching this, they took what's yours. Don't you dare let them keep it. This ain't about money. It's about how they see you. Fight with your head high. And when they call you ungrateful, smile. 'Cause you're about to make them very uncomfortable." I cried for 2 straight hours. Then I stood up and wrote the most savage, surgical email of my life. Attached the video, the ATM footage, the fake form, the real trust, the letters. CC'd the DA, my lawyer, the reporter, and yes, even my aunt. And the subject line? "You took my bed. You took my fund. Now watch me take it back." The reply came within a day. From the DA's office. Formal charges filed. Court date to follow. And that's when my mom tried to do the one thing I never thought she'd try. She blamed me. Publicly. On a podcast. And the lie she told next was so wild, I almost laughed. I didn't even know she had a podcast. Turns out, she'd been a recurring guest on her friend's local, blended family show, some low-budget thing about co-parenting and modern motherhood. Someone DM'd me a clip on Instagram. I watched it on mute at first, heart already pounding. Then I turned the sound up. There she was, my mom, in a rose gold head wrap, talking like she was some kind of victim. Well, that's been hard. When you have a difficult child, especially one with mental struggles, you do your best. But sometimes, they twist your love into abuse. I blinked. Mental struggles? I kept watching, fists clenched. My son, Isaiah, he's very smart. Always has been. But when you give a kid too much, they don't know what to do with it. He started hanging around bad influences. I had to make hard choices. He left because he wanted to be independent. We didn't kick him out. We offered him structure, and he rejected it. My jaw locked. She was sitting on a velvet chair, lying through her teeth, while sipping a latte bought with my stolen tuition. But it got worse. He's saying we took money. But the truth is, that trust fund was mine to manage. And I used it to support the whole family, groceries, bills, necessities. If he's mad that his stepfather fixed up the backyard for the kids, well, that's not theft. That's parenting. No remorse. No regret. Just spin. The comments were brutal. Some people sided with her. Kids these days think they're entitled to everything. Maybe he was troubled if he's airing out family business online. But others weren't buying it. Nah, she forged his name. That's fraud. This mom is exactly why I keep my savings under lock and key. Then someone linked my Reddit thread. Then the article. Then the video of my grandma, sitting in her floral print robe, laying bare the truth. And the tide turned. Fast. That's when the subpoenas hit. The court formally filed charges. Forgery. Unauthorized withdrawal from a minor's trust. Fraudulent misrepresentation. Her husband? Named as a co-conspirator. Turns out, he signed a delivery receipt for the hot tub the same day the withdrawal hit. I didn't smile. Not yet. Because I knew what was coming next. The family storm. It started with my cousin Trent. He'd been neutral this whole time. Never reached out. Never commented. Then, boom, I get a voicemail. "Yo, Zay, I just want you to know, I didn't believe any of that BS they said about you. But now that all this is out, man, I owe you an apology. She lied to everyone." Then came my aunt. The one who used to braid my hair when I was little. She sent a text. "Your mom's saying you're trying to ruin her life. But if she really took that money, she already did that herself. Come by." I still got grandma's photo on the mantle. That hit me, because that picture, me on her lap, drinking apple juice from a green cup, used to be the only thing that made me feel real when everything else felt fake. I didn't go yet. Not because I was mad. Because I needed to focus. The court date was approaching, and my lawyer had a strategy. She said, "We're not just going after the money. We're building a public record. This is about your future, not just your past." So we gathered everything. The ATM footage, the forged forms, the trust documents, the audio from the podcast, and finally, an affidavit from Miss Eileen, the woman who mailed me the key. I personally witnessed Isaiah's grandmother state that the fund was for his college education only. She expressed concern that his mother might interfere. That line sealed it. When the court session began, my mom didn't look at me. She wore a gray sweater, minimal makeup, and the same fake sadness she used to weaponize when I was 10 and wanted to sleep over at a friend's house. But this time, it didn't work. The judge reviewed the evidence, piece by piece. My lawyer's voice stayed calm, firm, surgical. When the video of my grandma played, you could hear the breath leave the courtroom. My mom tried to speak. The judge told her to wait. When she finally got her turn, she broke down crying. Claimed she didn't understand what she was doing. Claimed her husband pressured her. Claimed she only wanted what was best for all her children. But the prosecutor asked one question that changed everything. Then why did you tell people he was on drugs? She froze. Her lawyer tried to object. Overruled. The prosecutor pressed again. You told extended family that Isaiah had run away, that he was addicted to painkillers. That's in the text logs. If he was such a danger, why did you ask him for money 2 weeks later? Her mouth opened, then closed. And that was the beginning of the end. The judge ruled in my favor. Ordered restitution. Ordered a full repayment of the stolen trust. Ordered that both she and her husband attend financial abuse education classes. But the real win was the statement the judge made on record. This young man did not just show evidence. He showed restraint, clarity, and maturity beyond his years. The betrayal he endured is profound, but his courage is even greater. That line went viral. Again, people stitched it on TikTok. One creator made a remix with the clip and my grandma's voice from the video. It hit 3.1 million views in a weekend. And that's when the first college DM'd me. Not some scammy online school. A real university. With a scholarship offer. With housing. They wrote, "We see your strength, Isaiah. We'd be honored to be part of your future." I stared at the message. Then looked around the room I shared with Jordan. The cracked walls. The second-hand mini fridge. The futon where I slept. And I realized, this wasn't the end. This was my beginning. And the one thing I hadn't done yet was speak directly to the thousands of teens like me. Which is why Garage to Graduation was born. But that's the next part of the story. I filmed the first video on my coworker's cracked iPad. I was sitting on a busted futon, hoodie up, behind me, a wall half covered in receipts, sticky notes, and a corkboard that said in Sharpie, "They don't get to write my story." I didn't expect it to go anywhere. I just wanted to speak. "Hi, my name's Isaiah. I'm 19. From Tulsa. My mom kicked me out after graduation to make space for her new husband's kids. Then she asked me for $5,000 for someone else's school. Turns out she'd already stolen over $19,000 from my college fund. This channel's called Garage to Graduation because that's where I lived, and this is how I made it out." I paused, took a breath. This isn't a sob story. It's a toolkit. Every video here is gonna help someone avoid what happened to me. From budgeting, to finding safe scholarships, to spotting manipulation from people who swear they love you. I posted it. Went to bed. By morning, it had 43,000 views. By nightfall, 110,000. By the end of the week, 500,000. But the bigger twist? A comment from Mrs. Salazar, my high school counselor. "Isaiah, it's Ms. S. from Booker T. I'm so sorry I didn't know what was happening at home. Please reach out. I'd love to help however I can." I messaged her, and that's when something wild happened. She told me something I never knew. "Your grandma came to see me once. After a parent-teacher night. You were in 8th grade. She told me she was worried your mom might try to control your future. She asked me to keep an eye out, just in case. She said, my grandson is going to college. Not just for him. For every ancestor who never had the chance." I sat there, frozen. She knew. All those years ago. And so did Grandma. That night, I dug back through the box she left me. The one with old church bulletins and her 1997 driver's license. At the bottom, tucked behind a folded napkin, was something I'd missed. A small, crinkled photo of me, age 10, holding a homemade future tech genius sign. On the back, she wrote, "One day, baby, they'll regret ever doubting you." And they did. The video from the court hearing? A TikTok account edited it into a documentary-style piece, added background music, slow zooms, and even text overlays. That clip alone passed 7 million views. I got invited to speak at 2 webinars. one for first-gen college applicants, one for teens escaping family financial control. A woman from Atlanta emailed me. I didn't even know what financial abuse was until I watched your video. I thought I was just being stingy when my mom asked for my paychecks. Thank you. Then a DM from a 15-year-old in Nevada. I showed your video to my school counselor. She helped me file for emancipation. You literally saved my life. But not everyone was cheering. My mom. She tried to go scorched earth. She went on Facebook Live, crying again. Accused me of ruining her marriage. Claimed I twisted everything. Said I was lost to the internet. But this time, no one believed her. Her comments filled with, "You forged your son's name. You took $19,000 and called him selfish. You had a good kid and you threw him away." Then the final call came. I was at work, fixing a cracked MacBook screen when my phone rang. Unknown number. Florida, area code. I answered, cautious. "Hello, Isaiah. This is Dr. Leah Michaels. I'm the director of the Empower Scholars Network. We'd like to offer you a full-ride scholarship, tuition, books, housing, all covered. We also have a fellowship attached, a paid position where you'd run digital workshops for at-risk youth." I couldn't speak. "We've been watching your channel. You're exactly what our program is built for. You didn't just survive. You built something from it." When I hung up, I stared at the ceiling. I thought about the garage, about the mildew on the walls, about the nights I cried into a hoodie sleeve so no one would hear. And then I laughed. Not out of joy. Not yet. Out of clarity. Because for the first time in a long time, my story was mine again. A month later, I moved into my new dorm. One suitcase, one laptop, a little plant I named Revenge, and a photo of Grandma taped above my desk. In my first class, the professor asked us to introduce ourselves with one sentence that defined our life so far. Some people said things like, "I love anime," or "I grew up in Chicago." When it was my turn, I said, "I was betrayed by blood, saved by strangers, and raised by a woman who never lived to see me win, until now." The room went silent. Someone in the back whispered, "Damn." And I just nodded. Because yeah, damn. And the final twist? Months later, my mom tried to apply for Parent Plus loans, in my name, using my social again. But this time, the system flagged it, sent me a notice. I clicked Report Fraud. And instead of paying, I smiled. Because I didn't just escape. I evolved. And every time a new comment pops up on my YouTube videos, from a scared teen, a worried big brother, a tired daughter trying to leave, I type the same words back. You're not alone. You're not crazy. And this isn't the end. Because for me, it was only the beginning.